What's going on, everyone? So let's talk about my experience as a landlord on Airbnb and initially why I got into Airbnb. So I got into Airbnb because I wanted to build passive income and build it rapidly. I saw that everyone who was doing Airbnb was able to get one Airbnb about every 6 months, maybe even every 4 months, according to those YouTube videos and how they're building this Airbnb arbitrage. So I wanted to build this well that was fast, easy, but I didn't do my due diligence. So I had three Airbnbs. Luckily, I own all three of the properties. So one of the properties I had it as to a renter, and they had it as an arbitrage. So I rented to someone long term, and it worked out pretty well. And number two, I did my own Airbnb house and I rented out this whole house on Airbnb, and I had a third rental property that I was renting out rooms in. So I had every different type of Airbnb, and I'm gonna tell you my experiences and how it worked out. So my initial motivation was to build this passive income, to build this empire, to make a lot of money, so I can possibly retire on Fat Fire earlier. Now, that was my vision. I even built on my warehouse a laundry room or laundromat so I can wash all these sheets and dry as my people come and go, or my tenants or my guests will come in so I can wash all these sheets and blankets. Now, after I did my research, planned everything out, and I got started. I found the location, I found out this location was good for short-term renters, people will come and go, and then this house was also good for long-term renters. So I did all my due diligence, but then I got hit with my reality check. What reality check did I face? Well, I'm gonna give you a breakdown of the same house. So the house, let's say, is $2,000 a month of gross. Now, $400 would be profit, so it'll be 400 profit in long-term renter. Now, if I did a short-term rental, I was making about 3,000 to $3,600 a month on the property if I rented out. And this was my house. I rent out a whole house, and that's how much it would cost. So if I made $3,600 a month, how much money was I taking home? And it was not $2,000 a month. After me paying $1,000 a month for my cleaning fees, because at the end of the day, some of the profit you get for that gross profit is for cleaning. So $1,000 a month will go into cleaning. And so that just leaves us $1,600 of profit left. And normally a month, it'll cost me roughly about $600 to $700 a month on maintenance costs. So things around the house that breaks, changing out the furniture, doing little repairs around there. So it cost me about $600. So it leaves me with $1,000 of profit, and this is on average on. So if I have $1,000 of profit compared to $400 profit, was that $600 worth it? Now, no, it was not. I did make $600 extra a month on average. This is not counting slow months, and this is not counting on good month. On good months it could be 4,000. On bad month it could be 2,200. So you think that $1,000 was enough for the profit? Now that's just was the maintenance fee and the cleaning fee if we equal it out with a long term. Now let's add the other bills that people don't discuss. Was the electric bill was about $200 a month. That leaves $800 left of profit. Now if I add the water bill, it'll be about another $150, so it'll be about $650. And the gas bill was another $50, so that's $600 of profit. Now, was this property worth it for $600 after I take home all the bills? Now, don't forget part of the maintenance fee was cutting the grass. That's why it costs a little bit more. So $600 versus $400 for long term. So I would make an extra $200 a month on this short term rental property, and it was just not worth it because of all the fees. Now, if I tell you, okay, let's do a room situation. Now, the room situation had a lot of problem solving that I had to do. And if you do Airbnb, you have to have very adaptable problem solving because all the most random things would happen. I rented out each room individually on my warehouse property, and that would bring in a roughly about $400 or $500 a profit because it was a spare room and I wasn't using it for offers or anything. So it was $500. Now the issue with that was on the property, I would get good tenants, bad tenants, and there was always a tenant that wanted to steal from another tenant, or a tenant didn't like another tenant because they're playing music loud or something. So you have to learn to problem solve a lot on Airbnb. So I recommend if you do go into Airbnb, you need to know to adapt and problem solve in the field. So those were the challenges I had to fix and do. The high expense costs was the first problem I had. The second was the adaptability for customer service, and those two things just outweighed everything and was not worth doing Airbnb. Now, I told you about my experience, and was it a rewarding experience? Yes, I had some great tenants. I helped some people out, was able to stay there for a longer period of time, for a month or two, because their house burnt down. They had a flood. They're coming into air. So I had a lot of experience with good people too, and it was a very rewarding thing. It's just that when it was bad on Airbnb, it is really, really bad. Now, if you want to know the financial benefit and the personal growth I gained from all this, is I really did not get much financial gain on this Airbnb because at the end of the day, it costs a lot more to maintain than a lot due to supplies for everything I needed to do. And what do I mean by supplies? The toilet paper, the linens, I did not expect that to be so high. I can say the cleaning supply and everything costs about $50 a month, but the linens was needing to be replaced pretty often because every single time it seems like they will get blood on the mattress, on the sheets, or they'll use a hair product that they sleep with the hair wet and it really stains the sheets and you can't get them clean. And no customer wants to come in with dirty sheets or stained sheets. So it costs more than I thought in those fields. Now, if you're inspired to do this, just know my experience might be due to my area and it wasn't a bad thing. I was making $200 more a month on average than a long-term rental. So it wasn't worth it for me because it took more work. Now, it was very easy to use the Airbnb app, and was the benefit that it was easy to manage the app for booking, for communication, and that was very easy. Now, the property upkeep was the hard part, and that's where it costs a lot of money. So, what is my plans now for the future and Airbnb? Now, my plans for Airbnb is to not do Airbnb anymore because it's not worth it. Airbnb was just a waste of time, a waste of effort for a whole year. For me personally, I did learn a lot and I did not want to do it again because it was a lot of work. You know, Airbnb changed it where I couldn't charge more than 60, $80 to clean a whole house. So the average person who wanted to clean the house wanted to charge $120 to $200 per cleaning. So after the end of the day, I was only making $100 per booking whenever I booked for 2 or 3 days. Now, if I booked them longer, I would make more money, but it's hard to get people to want to stay more than just the weekend. So most time it was empty during the weekdays because people will come and visit and would prefer staying in hotels than Airbnb than when they came to Houston for business. Since I learned that. Now, my new strategy for my rental properties is to do long term rentals, and that is it. Now, I do encourage people to consider Airbnb because Airbnb in some areas will make a lot of money and it doesn't cost as much to run. Now, it might have been the issue with the house being a little bit older, it might have been an issue with a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it wasn't worth it for my Airbnbs, and I had three of them. So my long-term renter who did Airbnb arbitrage, the area took a hit and they could no longer afford rent, and it took forever to kick them out because they had renters in there or short-term renters, and you couldn't just remove them because according to the state, it was a personal matter and we had to let them fulfill their side and they would have to pay whatever. They just had to take the current listing down to not disrupt anything else. So I lost money on that one. And then with the other issues I had, like my other short term that I rent out the house, they were throwing parties, they were doing all these other things that was damaging, and I just wasn't getting the refunds to match what I needed, so it wasn't worth it. And then on my little 1 room, 2 room I was renting out, it was just hard due to the area. And to be honest, it was renting out just fine. And it wasn't worth it due to personnel issue because you get a lot of unique characters and people just don't like people anymore. So yes, I won't be doing Airbnb no more. And that was my experience on Airbnb. And I did all three type of it. So like and subscribe to my video and stay tuned for the next one.